Hey everybody, welcome back. How do you like this new angle? It's like an educational TV show or something. Welcome back to Ultimate Betrayal, Sweet Revenge. If you are new to the story, I'll catch you up. Ash Ketchum came home one day to an intervention involving most of his former companions from the show. All of them asked Ash to give up on his dream of being the Pokemon World Champion. He did not take it well, and he stormed out, disowned all of them, including his mother. Professor Oak framed Ash for using Pokemon in sacrificial rituals, and then Ash fled to Silverhood and just took over the place, because you can just do that. We've gone through many chapters of the traitors after 15 years coming to Mount Silver to battle in the tournament, but Ash is just too godlike. He can communicate with his Pokemon with his fucking aura. He learned how to just ignore type disadvantage. So things have been pretty one-sided. Remember, you can email us at fanficnight@orderoftheleague.com. You can send us suggestions for fanfics to read, possibly your own. We've had several submissions. We love it. You can give us your fan art. This is Fanfiction Theater, a celebration of naive writing in all of its foibles, flaws, and unintentional hilarity. Ultimate Betrayal, Sweet Revenge, Chapter 9. After the conclusion of Jade's battle, Ash received a message from Elaine that someone wanted to speak to him in private outside the arena. When the Mount Silver Guardian arrived outside, he was surprised to see Brock waiting for him, several very familiar Pokeballs in hand. He can recognize individual Pokeballs with his aura, probably.
Brock, what are you doing here?
He asked suspiciously, though there was no spite in his voice.
I came to give these to you, Ash,
Brock replied, handing Ash his Pokeballs. Ash took them, feeling stunned.
Thanks, but what's all this about?
The raven-haired man asked, releasing the Pokemon from their Pokeballs. Crokunk, Chansey, and Marshstomp appeared in front of Ash.
Well, I was hoping you would accept them as an apology gift,
the aspiring Pokemon doctor said nervously. Ash rose his eyebrows.
All right, I'm listening,
he said calmly.
But make this quick. I have to watch the rest of the first round.
Brock took a deep breath.
Ash, the truth is, I never wanted to betray you,
he began. Ash's eyebrows traveled farther up into his forehead. But he didn't interrupt.
Hold on, say that again. His eyebrows traveled deeper into his forehead?
Traveled farther up into his forehead.
So now I'm picturing that, like, Ash, even though he's kind of the same age, has started to go bald, and so his the eyebrows are going up to, like, that area?
Up to match his receding hairline.
Yeah.
I thought it was some sort of Kathy Griffin style face botching that my eyebrows are up here now.
Misty came to me a few days before you were supposed to get back from Kalos to talk to me about telling you to give up on your dream. When I refused, she threatened to have me arrested for harassment. You know, because of my habit of flirting with every girl I see.
Well, maybe that's valid, Brock. So
I
agreed.
Like 7 restraining orders so far.
So I agreed, but I've felt terrible about it ever since. I went back to Professor Oak's lab. He offered to keep some of my Pokemon there, and I thought I'd give you these guys to you as an apology gift. You don't have to worry. They've been on your side the whole time, too.
Ash listened silently as Brock explained himself. When his former friend finished, he said,
I'll think about it.
Think about what? Asked Brock. So I need a new voice for Crogunk.
Ash, you can trust him. We're all on your side here, honest.
Yeah, we never wanted to betray you, Chansey added.
Promise, Marshstomp said solemnly.
Look, just because you didn't want to betray me doesn't change the fact that you did,
Ash said, rubbing a hand over his forehead, trying to find his eyebrows, probably.
Yeah, I was going to say, watch out for his eyebrows. Then.
I appreciate the apology and everything, but it's been too long for me to forgive you just like that.
Brock sighed. I thought you'd say that. I understand completely, he said humbly. Take as much time as you need. Ash nodded.
I also appreciate the apology gift, but they're your Pokémon and I think they should stay with you. They're obviously still happy with you anyway, he continued. I wouldn't want to change that. The only reason I have the other trader's Pokémon is because they came to me of their own accord.
Really? Thanks, Ash, Marshstomp said happily. No offense, of course.
None taken,
Ash said, grinning a bit at Marshstomp. Brock looked surprised. Wait, you can understand Pokémon? He asked.
Oh yeah, I probably forgot to tell you. Anyway, I'll think about forgiving you,
the raven-haired trainer said.
But you've certainly done yourself a favor.
Ash turned around and was about to walk away when a girl with a long blonde hair happened to walk past them. Brock, in his typical manner, immediately got down on one knee in front of her. My dear, if I were to die tomorrow, would you make me the happiest man alive and spend the remainder of my life with me? He asked flirtatiously. No, but if you don't back off in 10 seconds, I'll make it so you die today, the girl replied sharply. Aw, come on. You know you don't mean that, Brock protested. 10, 9, 8. All right, you win. Brock quickly sprung out of the girl's path. Tossing her hair over her shoulder and giving him a very cold look, she continued on her way to the Pokémon Center, muttering something about how she would never go out with annoying, desperate boys who didn't know the definition of personal space.
That's a hell of a lot to mutter.
Yes. Ash glanced.
Ever go out with something like that? Someone who doesn't even know about personal space.
Ash glanced between the girl and Brock, trying not to laugh.
You old sexual predator, you.
Oh, you know what? I've changed my mind, he said finally.
Changed your mind about what? Asked the still shocked Pokemon doctor.
You're
Give me your Pokemon, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
We're gonna turn you in.
Sorry, I ruined the emotional ending to that chapter.
Yeah. Chapter 10. Brock decided to go sit in the stands while Ash went back to his high throne. When he got back, he saw that he was just in time for the second round of Sapphire's battle with Max. Judging by the way Max was clenching his fists, it had been an easy victory for Sapphire's first Pokemon. What was that all about, Ash? Serena asked when he sat down.
It's nothing. I'll explain later,
Ash replied quickly, not taking his eyes off the battlefield. Serena nodded and went back to watching their daughter as well. That was quite an impressive victory for Sapphire and her Umbreon, Richard announced, further increasing Max's rage. Let's see if Max can respond. You bet I can, Max said confidently. Sceptile, crush this brat now! There was a small flash of light as a Sceptile appeared on the battlefield. He glared across the field at Sapphire, who had recalled Umbreon and was about to send out her second Pokemon. I hope you're ready, kid, Sceptile growled. Please, that Sceptile will be nothing, Greninja remarked, yawning. He's easily smaller than most Sceptiles should be.
Yeah, I think Sapphire could tell her Pokemon to take a nap and still win the battle,
Ash agreed. There was no way that a Max Maple-trained Pokemon stood any sort of chance against Sapphire. Cool Sceptile, although it seems that his growth was a little stunted, Sapphire called back tauntingly. Max and Sceptile glared at her. Oh yeah? Then why don't you show us what you've got, bitch? Max snapped, close to exploding with rage. Ash wondered if he was actually 21 years old. Okay, so That's a confirmation they have aged. He certainly didn't act like it, although perhaps immaturity and stupidity ran in the family.
How old is Max in the like typical or in the normal universe?
Presumably about 15 years younger than that, so like 6.
So it's 15 years later. How old is Sapphire? Do we know?
Yeah, I think she's about like 10 or 11.
All right, so if Ash is like 16 in the show, then he could have had a kid at 20, and it's not.
Well, he was like 10 in the show, but.
All right, so it's like that movie with Adam Sandler and Teen Dad or whatever, you know?
It's called.
There's an Adam Sandler movie called Teen
Schoolboy
Dad.
Father, and it was an after-school special.
And it was Rob Lowe. You got nothing right.
Hawlucha, it's time to shut another traitor up. Hawlucha popped out of his Pokeball, striking his signature pose. He looked up towards Ash and Serena and gave what could only have been a thumbs up. Only mentioning it because he has wings, I guess. Hawlucha, the luchador hawk.
Okay.
Max stared disdainfully at the hawk-like Pokemon. If that's the best you can do, you must really want to lose, he taunted, earning himself a murderous glare from the former forest champion. I have no idea who that would be. Sceptile.
Just some guy in the third row who was a former forest champion.
We go now to the former forest champion. Sceptile, use Leaf Blade. Take it, Hawlucha, Sapphire said calmly.
Ugh, phrasing.
Ash smiled, knowing that his daughter was familiar with Hawlucha's head-on battling style. Max looked confused at the command as Sceptile struck Hawlucha with Leaf Blade. All right, take that, Forest Pigeon, the gecko Pokemon sneered. When he stepped back, however, he was met with the shock of his life. Hawlucha was still standing, utterly unfazed by the attack. That was cute. It tickled, the fighting type said. Idiot. Don't you know that Hawlucha is resistant to grass-type moves? Sapphire called out exasperatedly. Max flushed with embarrassment as the crowd laughed at him. Geez, I wonder why his Sceptile looked so weak, but I think I'm starting to figure it out now, Hawlucha commented. Ash, Serena, Pikachu, and Greninja all laughed. No kidding, Ash remarked. I wish Max could understand Pokemon just so he could hear what we were saying, Pikachu said wistfully. Just imagine the look on his face.
He's already got the whole crowd laughing at him, Pikachu. Come on.
Yeah. Ugh, don't make me imagine that, Delphox said, shuddering. Imagining his face is bad enough in itself.
Kind of channeling Ed Grimley there.
Yeah. I must say.
Too true, Delphox, too true, Greninja agreed with a smirk. Now, Hawlucha, use Brick Break, Sapphire commanded. Finish this off. At your service, Hawlucha replied as he flew towards Sceptile and struck him with a powerful Brick Break. The gecko Pokemon stumbled back before falling to the ground unconscious. Sceptile is unable to battle. The winner is Hawlucha, the ref announced. And that's another win for Sapphire, Richard declared to the cheering crowd. Max Maple is really in trouble now. Oh yeah? Well then, let's see how you and your Hawlucha deal with this next one, Max yelled angrily. He pulled
out a gun.
He pulled out Gundor.
Pulled out another Pokeball and roared, Vikavolt, aid me now!
Bolt.
The same Vikavolt that Greninja had defeated with ease just the other day appeared on the battlefield. Sapphire and Hawlucha exchanged a glance before both of them burst out laughing. Are you serious? Vikavolt? Sapphire snorted incredulously. Did you forget that my grandfather's Greninja beat that weak Pokemon in just one move without even using his full power? Yeah, well, this time it'll be different, Max spat furiously. That was a lucky win the first time. Sapphire just smirked at her opponent. Fine, if you want to be that way, she said coolly. She turned to Hawlucha and shouted, All right, Hawlucha, use Karate Chop, but don't do it at full power. Let's drag this battle on for a bit. So what, about 2% power? Hawlucha asked, only half joking as he slammed his Karate Chop into Vikavolt head. Because that's about as much power as I can use if we want to drag this out. Damn you! Vikavolt growled, wincing in pain. Normally, a fighting-type move wouldn't have been very effective on Vikavolt, but Hawlucha wasn't called the forest champion for nothing. Oh, okay. Hawlucha is the forest champion. Ignore the pain, Vikavolt. Use Zap Cannon, Max shouted. Vikavolt launched his Zap Cannon, which struck Hawlucha head-on. All right, direct hit and super effective. When the smoke cleared, however, everyone gasped. Hawlucha was still standing, completely fine even after being hit by a move that should have been super effective. He smirked over at Vikavolt. You'll have to do better than that, he called. Vikavolt snarled at him. Now, Hawlucha, use high jump kick, Sapphire ordered. Take it, Max yelled confidently. Ash wondered how he could still be so cocky even after seeing his powerful attack fail miserably. You are going to regret this, Hawlucha warned Vikavolt as he charged towards him, slamming his high jump kick into his chest and sending him flying through the air. Does Vikavolt even have a chest? Whatever. You would think that Max would be a little less arrogant, Delphox remarked, especially after Greninja beat him so easily, even with a type disadvantage. Yeah, well, this is Max we're talking about, Greninja reminded her. Come on, Vikavolt, I need you now, Max screamed, his anger starting to get the best of him. Use Thunderbolt! Vikavolt tried to fire off a Thunderbolt, but because he was so exhausted, the attack fizzled out before it could be unleashed. Ash and his family burst out laughing, as did the rest of the crowd. Let's finish this idiot, Hawlucha. Use Flying Press, Sapphire called out. You've got it, Hawlucha answered as he soared into the air. He performed his customary spin before diving down towards Vikavolt and landing hard on top of him. Jumping off his victim, Hawlucha flexed his wings in a victory pose as Vikavolt fell to the ground. Vikavolt, no! Max cried out. Vikavolt is unable to battle. Hawlucha is the winner, the ref declared, which means the victory goes to Sapphire.
So wait, are we not going to get an explanation for why that attack that should have been super effective just wasn't?
It's because Max...
It's because they're traitors and they're stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be a theme. I wonder how many more battles like this we have to go through. All right, nice work, Hawlucha, Sapphire cheered, high-fiving the hawk-like Pokémon. Across the field, Max sank to the ground on his knees in disbelief. He had been defeated. No, worse than that. He had been completely and utterly humiliated, and by an 11-year-old girl, no less.
No, worse than that. He was dead.
It was the most embarrassing moment of his life. Sapphire ignored her opponent's distress as she turned to face the crowd. And that, she called loudly, is how you put an idiot in their place.
Womp, womp. That's the section break noise for the story. Is womp, womp.
Up in the stand, several of the traitors were watching the scene unfold in disbelief. This can't be happening, Iris stammered. How did Max just get totally crushed by a little girl? May asked. And one of Ketchum's children, no less. She should have been way weaker. Don't worry, it won't happen again. Dawn will win for sure.
I've seen his genetic structure. It's terrible.
The others winced. Knowing that if two of their strongest members could be defeated so handily at the hands of two inexperienced trainers, there wasn't much hope for the rest of them. And yet there's 12 more chapters.
Well, now is he just going down one of those long lists of names from an earlier chapter, like fighting each one of those people?
I mean, basically.
Trying to think in the macro here. Okay. Wow. 12. Oh.